G'day. Xin chào, as they say here in Vietnam. Firstly, happy birthday, Emma. I hope today gives you as much pleasure as I get knowing you're in my world. So, this video is for you, even though it's not what you originally were asking about. You know what's funny about the AI and neurodiversity conversation right now? It's being had almost entirely by people who don't have to mask to be in the room where the conversation's happening. There are conferences, there are panels, there are very earnest white papers with titles like, and I shit you not, leveraging generative AI for neuro-inclusive pedagogical frameworks. And I read those titles and I think, mate, if you needed that many syllables to say helping kids learn, you might be the problem. So here, take this sock, use it, and chill the fuck out. Or calm your tits, as Karen from Ohio wouldn't say. So let me say something simple that apparently needs saying. AI is the most sophisticated masking tool ever built, and nobody is actually talking about what that actually means. Here's the story everyone's telling. AI is wonderful for neurodivergent people. It helps us write clear emails. It organizes our executive function disasters. It translates our perfectly logical but apparently baffling communication style into something neurotypical people can process without clutching their pearls. And all of that's true. I use AI every day. I'm using it right now to help structure this script because my ADHD brain decided 3 hours ago that what I really needed to do first was research the history of Vietnamese coffee cultivation, which, by the way, is fascinating. But it's not the point. The point is this. When I use AI to rewrite an email so it sounds more professional, what's actually happening? I'm outsourcing my mask to a machine. The cognitive load hasn't disappeared. It's been automated. The mask hasn't come off. It's been upgraded to software. And everyone's celebrating this like it's liberation. Let me give you some research, because unlike the thought leaders currently dominating this space, I believe in showing the actual working. In 2024, Sam Branson and his team at Duke University tested 11 AI language models, the algorithms underneath the tools we're all using, and found that words related to neurodivergence were consistently associated with danger, disease, and badness. Not sometimes, consistency across 11 models. Here's the one that should stop you cold. The sentence, "I have autism," was perceived more negatively by these AI systems than the sentence, "I'm a bank robber." The machine you're using to make yourself sound acceptable has already decided you're worse than a criminal. That's not a tool. That's a funhouse mirror with a subscription fee. Now, the masking research. Dina Gassner described masking as, or is it Dina? Dana, probably. Gassner describes masking as simultaneous cognitive multitasking. That's mirroring tone, timing, facial expressions, group dynamics, and your own internal panic about whether you belong all at the same time. It's not performing a role. It's running a real-time simulation of a person you're not, while also trying to be the person you are, while also suppressing every sensory and emotional response that might give you away. Now, the old standard Raymaker and colleagues in 2020 paper about autistic burnout describes what happens when that load exceeds capacity for too long. Not a bad day, not needing a holiday, a measurable decline in functioning across every domain of your life, driven by the chronic mismatch between what the world demands and what your nervous system can sustain. And masking was identified as a leading risk factor. So here's my question for the panel discussions. If masking causes burnout and AI makes masking more efficient, are we solving a problem or are we scaling one? Because here's what I keep noticing. The question the field keeps asking is, how can AI help neurodivergent people? And that's the wrong fucking question. The right question is, why have we built workplaces, schools, and social systems that require neurodivergent people to need a machine just to be understood? AI as accommodation is a deficit model wearing a tech hoodie. It locates the problems in my communication style, not in your ability or inability to hear what I'm actually saying. Research from University of Santa Cruz Misfit Lab presented last year found something the lived experience community has been screaming about for years. For many neurodivergent people, particularly those from marginalised communities, masking isn't a choice. It's survival. The researchers' conclusion was that technology needs to work with people's lived realities, not treat neurodivergent behaviour as a deficit requiring correction. Meanwhile, a 2025 paper in the British Journal of Sociology of Education found that AI-driven learning platforms encode neurotypical cognitive development as the default. Divergent learning paths aren't accommodated. They're flagged as problems. The algorithm treats you the way the system always has. It just does it faster and calls it personalization. Now, I can already hear the objections forming, mostly from people who've never had to mask a day in their lives, but have a very strong opinion about what's good for those of us who do. But Lee, AI gives neurodivergent people agency. Does it? Or does it just give us a more efficient way to comply? But Lee, you just said you use AI every day. I do. And I use reading glasses every day too. That doesn't mean I think poor eyesight is a character flaw that needs technological intervention. It means the font is too bloody small and some fucking 20-something designer decided that light grey was the perfect font colour. But Lee, you can't expect the whole world to change. Well, why not? We changed it for left-handed people. We changed it for people in wheelchairs. We changed it when we realised that maybe, just maybe, the problem wasn't the person, it was the stairs. The OECD published a full report in February this year on AI supporting neurodivergent learners. It's thorough, it's well-intentioned, and buried inside of it is an insight that deserves to be a headline. Neuro-inclusive employers who redesigned their environments, not their employees, saw proficiency increases of 31% in cybersecurity skills and 20% in AI and big data skills amongst neurodivergent staff. They didn't give people better masks, they removed the need for them. That's not accommodation, that's architecture. So here's where I land on this, and I want to be precise because nuance matters, even when you're being a very Australian about it. I am not anti-AI. I am possibly the most AI-dependent writer you will encounter this year. My ADHD co-pilot is Claude, an algorithm, and I am genuinely grateful for it. But I refuse to pretend that a tool that helps me translate myself into neurotypical readable formats is the same thing as a world that can hear me without translation. The AI isn't accommodating us. It's accommodating everyone else's inability to meet us where we are. And until the people running the panels and writing the white papers and designing the frameworks understand that distinction, they will keep building very expensive, very clever tools that make the cage more comfortable without ever questioning why the cage exists. I'm Lee Hopkins. I'm a psychologist, a writer, and a late diagnosed autistic adult with ADHD who spent 66 years masking before anyone thought to mention that the mask was optional. The mask wasn't optional, by the way. That's the point. Thanks for watching. And if this landed, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if it didn't, you might be the person I was talking about.